Israel lies on the verge of the desert, and water, historically, water is a major problem in Israel. If you read the Bible stories, it's always about water, and it never stops, probably never will. I would say that there are about 5 processes that dominate the water availability now in Israel, or the water status now in Israel. I think that the first one is the increase in demand. And the reason is very simple. Israel is very crowded. There are about 7 million people on an area of about 22,000 square kilometers. That means about 320 people per persons per square kilometer. This is not accounting to the desert that we have. If you eliminate the desert and if you consider where most of the people live, it's more than 700 persons per square kilometer. Just to get the idea, let's say that at the end of our independent war, at 48, it was about 32. 32 because the number of people here in this land, in Israel, increased from 700,000 people to 7 million. And the increase in demand is very simple and very clear. With it comes the increase in the standard of living. The higher the standard of living, the higher the use of water. And the result is that the demand on water resources is increasing all the time. This is as much true to our neighbors, and the situation in Palestinian Authority or in Jordan is even worse than in Israel. First, because they have less water. This is simply true for Jordan. It's also true for the Palestinian Authority, and you should know that, let's say, in Amman, the capital of Jordan now, they get fresh water at home only once a week. Each of them has a special tank on the roof of about 2 cubic meters per family. And if they finish this amount of water, they can buy an extra water, but then they pay a lot, almost like buying bottles, that they need them to use, and not all of them are rich people. So the situation is bad in all the area. So one process, as I said, the first one is the increase in demand. The second is decrease in supply. There is still some argue about global warming, or what's the rate of global warming, or what is the effect of global warming on water availability, and it's even more difficult. All our models it's hard to read because Israel, it sits on the border between desert and the more rainy regions. So the certainty is smaller, but these are models. What we actually realize is that in recent years we have a continuous decrease in water supply, and it is mostly true on the more important places, which is the basin of the Jordan River or the Kinneret, and the basin of the mountainous aquifer, the Judean aquifer. And let me say that this year and this winter we have never been that low, both in rain until this time of the year, this period, and in reserves we have none. This is the truth. So this is the second process, and it's not only that. So one reason for this decrease could be the global warming. And we see the effect, Cookie spoke before on the Arva. In the Arva itself, we have now a decrease in rain from, let's say, an average in the southern Arva. The average was very small. It was about 25, about 1 inch per year in average. But it decreased now to about 10. And think what it makes to all the fauna and all to everything. So this is about global warming, but then there is another process that affects the water availability now in Israel, and this is I may call it, it's a result of contamination. But what we have is that the hydrophobic colloids, the existence of hydrophobic colloids within the clouds delay or limit the enlargement of the water drops within the clouds, and they never get to the critical mass within the cloud that is needed for rain to happen. You see, you have a kind of very tiny water drops in the clouds, and they need to grow up before it starts to rain. If you have colloids or hydrophobic colloids within the rain, in the cloud, it stops. It makes more droplets, but they're too small. So, and this is true. This effect is mostly true in the mountains, and that means in the basin of the Jordan River or the Kinneret, or in the Judean mountains. Even if we try to decrease the amount of those colloids, but the truth is that we import large sum of them from Europe. So it's not even under our control. It comes in the atmosphere from Europe, and so we suffer from their ignorance of their pollution. And it's worse here because we are on the desert. So these are the two, I say a few things about demand and then about supply. And when you have a situation that the demand increases and the supply decreases, of course the net result is that there is a short of available water. Another process that is very serious and is contamination of both surface and groundwater. Again, in place that in a land that its population increased so fast, and the population in Israel increased both naturally and also because of Aliyah. Not all the newcomers are, especially at the first years, are very aware of the careness or the importance of how to behave about the surrounding, the environment, and to protect the environment. We suffer from contamination problems. It was true more at the beginning of the state of Israel, but you know, the hydrological processes are very slow. And although rules and regulation is now much more severe and much better, we still suffer from years of ignorance at the beginning, and we suffer from, we lose water to contamination, and the projects to reclaim those aquifers is a massive task and expensive one.